Hello and welcome. This is a sample of one of my tournament games. This game is played 2 years back during the Corus tournament. It illustrates on how to execute an attack. First thing to notice is that white has more space on the king's side. Besides that, all the white pieces are at this very moment aiming at the king. We see the white that's not good. We see the white bishop pinning the f-pawn. The queen is exerting pressure. The rook behind the pawn is exerting pressure, and the white pawn can easily go forward. Black does not have much defenders, so this should trigger us to search for a forcing move. Because white has a superior position, there are more moves for white that are quite well. If you want to search for an attacking move, please pause the video now, as I will continue. Now, if you found the following continuation: f6, queen takes, e5, queen d8, and e takes, that's a fine continuation. However, we are looking for something more aggressive right now. In the game, I actually played knight takes d4. Now, there are several ways for black to respond to this. Probably the best way is to decline the offer and to move the queen to f6. Now the attack is fended off and my knight has to move, let's say, to e2. White still has better position here, mostly because he's a healthy pawn ahead, but a win is far from certain here. However, my opponent didn't do this. My opponent accepted the offer of the knight and played c takes d4. Now I continue my attack by pushing the f-pawn to f6. Right here my opponent calculated some possibilities and he saw no exit for black. Thus, as a way of resigning, he played knight takes b3, allowing me to mate in 1 with the queen. Now, the idea why he resigned is that he saw no exit, because g7, g5 now, because right now g7 to g5 is the only move that keeps black somewhat in the game. However, now rook to f5 is pretty strong. Of course, now black has to be aware of the threat rook takes pawn. Let's see what happens if he ignores that by taking away one attacker of mine, the bishop. Well, I simply take the pawn with my rook. The check. Of course, he cannot take back, because if he takes back, then it's a very simple and easy mate. There we have it. So the only thing for him to do now is to move his king out of the way, and the best place for it to be is h8, because h7 also will get mated very soon. King h8. White now continues his attack with queen f4. Well, black is in a world of pain here. He tries to lighten the load a bit by playing rook g8 is best, I think. Then rook to h5 will follow with attack of the weak point h6, opening up the king even more. Only way to respond for black is rook g6. Well, then we still take the pawn and give check. King moves to g8 forced. Well, now we have time and we can take the knight. That won't bother us anymore. And now, well, just call it. What is the good move for black to do? He can do lots of things, but I don't think anything will help. Our way to continue is to play, well, let's say queen d7. Then we just keep building up our attack. Rook f1. Well, let's say rook attacking the queen, trying to lighten the load again. Queen moves out of harm's way. The biggest problem here is that black cannot stop the white assault. There is no way that the exposed black king, which is on open lines for white's rook, and is also closed in by his own pawn at f7, and there is influence from the f6 white pawn here, so the attack is too strong. He can never escape. Let's say a queen to e6, bring in more defenders. Then we have, well, rook f3, perhaps h3 kicking the rook. This will work as well. Rook goes back. Well, we simply take the rook, he takes us, and now we have one move threat. Here, I think the only way to defend it properly is with queen to f7. Well, we still continue our attack. Rook to h3. Now what to do? We're threatening lots of things here. Checkmate in 1, for example. If the queen ever moves, we checkmate here. If the queen leaves the line, we checkmate. We can also checkmate here and here. So let's say he eats the pawn. Queen h7 check. King f8. Well, it's very simple. Just take the bishop, and now there are far too many things threatening. We can move our rook to f3, pinning the queen. We're threatening giving a checkmate if the queen ever leaves the diagonal over here. We threaten to take the rook over here with the check. So really there is no escape from this onslaught. Well, the only thing reasonable over here, except for taking the white knight, seems to be the two king moves. Let's explore them both. Let's start with king to whoa, king to h7. King to h7 gives us the opportunity to add some more pressure with rook a to f1. Now black faces another dilemma. Let's try to add defender to g5 over here. Well, that won't work because we have the very strong looking move. Bishop takes f7. And after that I think there's not much to do against this assault here and the white passer over here. It just needs 2 more moves to promotion. Well, that can't be correct. So the only try now is to take the white bishop now with the king in a different position. Let's see how that works out. If we truly are brutal, we try to take this pawn anyway. Then after pawn takes rook, queen takes g5. Black has to play. Well, black cannot do anything. No, we can't. We're threatening to checkmate here. Oh, we're threatening, I said, to checkmate here. And if black will prevent it by placing his rook over here, then we have the checkmate over here. So it's not an option for black to take the rook. What else can black do? Let's try rook to g8. We have rook g7 check, king to h8, and then queen f4. Rook takes leads to check, king takes, queen takes f7 check, king h8, rook f6, set f6, rook to f6. Well, what to do? Queen f8 keeps him alive, I think. Queen f8, queen to e6, knight, and here we go. And off comes the black queen. Of course, it doesn't have to go this way, but the thing to recognize is the attacking potential and not stop attacking the black position. That way you're certain to end in one position. So of course you may find improvements